Hard Copy, as you know, seeks to lay out the facts in simple fashion for the inclusion of all Bahamians and Bahamians at heart. The focus every day to move forthright in our manner to build a progressive and developing country. Our desire is for a Bahamas with a competent, skillful, and productive workforce. We want a country that can feed and sustain itself. We want a country with a brilliant visionary action plan that's ready to embrace a future of hope and prosperity. We encourage like-minded Bahamians to participate with intelligent and honest contributions. After all, we do have a country to build. We've got jobs and industry to create, a people to inspire and empower, and generations of born and unborn Bahamians. We, the people, must protect and plan for even more now. And if it's not up to you, then who? And if not now, then tell me when. Today on Hard Copy, we're going to be checking stock, politically speaking, checking stock, see what's happening out there, see what the people are in the mood for, and see if everything is going according to plan. This is Hard Copy.
It's hurricane season, and we at the Water and Sewage Corporation want you and your water to be safe if a storm heads our way. During a hurricane, heavy rain combined with storm surges can cause an underground water well to become contaminated and unsuitable for use.
The Water and Sewage Corporation's offer of 50% off sign-up services is back for residents in New Providence and the Family Islands. Offer valid for a limited time only. Some restrictions may apply. Sign up today. The Water and Sewage Corporation. Committed to growth, committed to quality.
The Beauty Shack is having a braid bonanza right in time for this summer's sizzling months. On Friday, June 30th and Saturday, July 1st. Braids, and more braids will be priced to go under the tent. Now is the time to get your gold and silver braid accessory clips, Kanakalon, Havana, Goddess, Faux Locks, Expression, and Kinky, just to name a few. Don't forget to cash in on all the hair, beauty, and skincare products at rock bottom prices to enhance your beach glow. Everything in the store is 15% off. Nail techs and beauticians get 20% off. Early bird shoppers will receive an extra savings while supplies last.
Driving on West Bay in rush hour? Hard. Getting a new car to enjoy the ride? Easy. Carting the kids around after school? Hard. Getting a car to fit them all? Easy. Get an easy auto loan from Commonwealth Bank. Super low rates, fast 24-hour approval, no loan fee, and no payments for 2 months. So come to Commonwealth Bank, and your next car is easy. Commonwealth Bank. Terms and conditions apply.
Be sure to stay cool all year round, especially when those hot summer months roll in. Keep cool with Cool Tech. Located at Tonic Williams Darling Highway, Cool Tech is your affordable #1 air conditioning center. They install and service everything they sell. That means prompt, reliable service 24/7. Cool Tech, the only way to stay cool with guarantee. Call Cool Tech now at 341-5665.
Excuse me, I'm part of a team that's shooting a movie here, and I'll be moving locations quite often. What I need to know is if there are laundromats throughout the island, as there will be a fair amount of laundry to be done after each shoot.
Miss, you asked the right one, because I is one half of the unofficial voice for Superwash.
And I is the other half of the unofficial voice for the largest, cleanest, most modernist laundromat chain in this country.
Superwash got laundromat on Nassau Street, Minnie Street, Blue Hill Road, Wolf Road,
Robinson Road, Soldier Road, and Carmichael Road.
And Gibbs Corner and Prince Charles Drive. And they open 24/7, and they have small boy and big boy washer and dryer.
Plus, they is steam pressing, and they got TV.
Anything else?
Do they have drop-off service?
Right away.
Do they sell detergent, bleach, and softeners?
Right away.
They washes your presses, it cleans you, and entertains you 24/7.
Mark the dates. June 26th through 30th. It's the Assemblies of God's 62nd Biennial General Council meeting in Nassau, Bahamas. The place, Evangelistic Temple, Collins Avenue. The time, 7:30 p.m. nightly. The theme, the Kingdom of God culture. The Assemblies of God, Bahamas, Turks and Caicos Island invites one and all associate churches, members, and friends to this grand event. Go out and hear from Reverend Dr. Patrick Paul, Reverend Dr. James Bradford, Bishop Jerry Seal, Reverend Dr. James Davis, Reverend Dr. Robert Lockhart, Reverend Dr. Vaughn Cash, and many others as they speak to the Kingdom of God culture. All services will be held at Evangelistic Temple, Mark the dates. June 26th through 30th, 7:30 p.m. nightly. The Assemblies of God 62nd Conference, Nassau, Bahamas.
Transforming institutional investing, empowering Bahamians to save and invest, growing its business to create a strong and stable investment environment for generations to come. That's what CFAL has accomplished in its first 20 years. And that's what Bahamians can expect in the years to come. For at CFAL, we believe our past is a foundation for an even greater future. Call us today or visit cfal.com and seize your future.
Summer is here, so get ready to fire up your weekend with Top Superstore's annual barbecue grill tent sale for one day only, Saturday, July 1st. Join us under the tent and find a variety of Char-Grill gas grills, combo gas and charcoal grills, and smokers. Head on into the Superstore to find bamboo torches, beverage coolers, barbecue utensils, and so much more. So don't miss our annual barbecue grill tent sale, Saturday, July 1st at Top Superstore, Wilton Street.
And now, here's a message from Bishop Neil C. Ellis.
As God begins to bless as He has promised, your life will become magnetic as it relates to enemies and haters. Every time you walk, you suck in an enemy. Every time you go somewhere, you just draw in a hater. That's why your hater count is going to increase. But you've got to remember, for where God has taken you, some you will not attract. Haters will find you because of where the Lord has taken you. But you can't let haters throw you off your game, because haters in your life are an announcement that you are making progress.
Big up yourself, man. It's the Steve McKinney Show on Bahamas Live.
Yeah, man, put on your thinking caps, man.
Give it up.
I feel them in the one drop. Still got time to rock. You pick up your telephone. We all go to the throne. Steve McKinney bringing us, fighting against the system, taking a better way as we struggle day by day. Sing it. I know Jah never let us down. Oh no, talking with God. I know Jah never let us down. Oh no, look at here. They make the world so hard, so hard. You got people fighting. They make the world so cold, so hard. Every day, people are dying. Hunger, starvation, lamentation. Read it in Revelation. You'll find your redemptions. You can give us the teachings of His Majesty. We don't want no devil philosophy. Tell them, Steve, give us Bahamas the Majesty. We don't want no devil philosophy.
Welcome to the Friday tradition. It is Friday, the 30th day in the month of June 2017. As you battle the congested city streets and drive home traffic, we have for you today partly cloudy skies, even though it's nice and sunny outside right now, right? Partly cloudy skies, 88 for the high right now, currently on the outside, 81 later tonight. Showers in the forecast again, somewhere between 30 and 40% of rain chance. And we thank you so much today for joining us on the drive home. I'm Steve McKinney. This is Hard Copy. And we're brought to you today by Tops Lumber, the Big Tent Sale, all day tomorrow, starting anywhere from around about 8 o'clock thereabouts. You want to be there. 44th Independence Celebration. It's on. It's at Clifford Park, and there's more to come. Beauty Shack Big Tent Weekend over there on Soldier Road. You want to be there and check Big Les Turnquest. Hadji's, your everything store in St. Albans Drive. Bank of the Bahamas, the Bank of Solutions. Assemblies of God 62nd Council Gathering. Final one is tonight. And, of course, Mount Tabor's Inspiration, Super Value, the All Bahamian Supermarkets, Rocky Farms Nursery, Seabreeze Lane. Tomorrow, big sales again. Water and Sewage, Ministry of Tourism, Travel the Islands this summer. Echo Water, the official water of hard copy. Commonwealth Bank, the new debit card. Cool Tech, the Canoe experts on Tony Williams Darling Highway. Tomorrow, they're open from 8 in the morning until 5 o'clock just to serve you because the crowd's going to be big. Bahamian Brewery and Beverages. Also, Superwash open 24/7. Advantage Insurance and Brokers, 61 Collins Avenue. Ron's Electric Motors, Carriage and Wolf Road. Executive Printers on Jerome Avenue. And, of course, Seafowl and the McKinney Media Group for advertisement, public relations, and, of course, consultation. You want to check us first at the McKinney Media Group. Today on Hard Copy, this is the Friday tradition, so we're going to let our hair hang down and even our peasy hair hang down. And we're going to take a look at what's going on in our country. You know, I said earlier today that what we want to do is we want to take stock, take inventory of the political happenings right now. There's inventory that has to be done, and we plan to do that today with my special guest, Mark Storr. He's going to be here with me in just a short time. Mark Storr, of course, you know him very well by now. You've heard him through the election campaigns and talking about the polling and all that kind of stuff. Well, there's feedback. There are people in the public who are kind of confused and mixed up about all that's going on these days in politics, in the governance, in the opposition politics, because now the messages have been all confuddled up to the point where Christie now is even talking. Even Christie, the prime minister, is talking very early. The former prime minister is talking these days, and he was saying that he don't know nothing about what they're talking about all this thing about spending wildly in office. And that just shows you the kind of tight squeeze that the present administration are facing, considering the allegations that they had launched and hurled here, there, and everywhere. And now even the former prime minister has found his voice to say, "Teen us, teen me, wasn't me, and we did the right thing in office," which presents a problem because really the truth is Glenys Hanna Martin started it off last Friday here on the Friday Tradition when she said, look, they're lying. It's not so. And that has kind of like put a little something between the people right now who are beginning to doubt. That's the serious thing. Where there's doubt setting in about what has happened, and now there's backtracking by certain ministers. There was a minister today who had to go and deal with all kind of rumors, yesterday actually. Dr. Dwayne Sands in the Ministry of Health, there was some big thing out there about $25 million missing from his ministry. He had to go and try to deal with that right away and say, it ain't so. It's not true. It ain't true. Because what has happened now is that a lot of people are saying things and mixing up the situation even further. They're muddying the water, so to speak. And that's expected because there are operatives out there from all sides of the political divide. And when they muddy the water, it makes the whole thing look confusing. In a minute, we won't know who said what. We know what Minnis said before the election and all that with Bahama, yes, but now when you hear things like this amount of money missing, and it's not so, and the minister himself have to come up and say, now, look, that ain't true. No such thing has happened. It's totally false. It tells you the state of affairs of the people in the quandary in this country who don't know what the hell's going on. And in the absence of no leadership saying, this is the deal, here are some things that can quantify what we had said, this is what's happening here, and for instance, the Attorney General office is doing these things, this is where we are, this is what we know, this is what we have discovered since we came to office, and we are concerned about them. Somebody has to stand up and make a statement. Somebody in authority has to do it. So that the public can make sense out of what really is happening. Because if you go and believe all that is now circulating on social media, by the time as you finish listening to all this stuff, you're going to be exhausted. And by the time as some ministers are going to be there trying to defend or even say, this ain't so or that ain't so, they're going to be exhausted. But I'm saying this to say this to you. Said all that to say this to you. Anytime you see the leader of an opposition, or I should say the former leader of a country, speaking up this soon after the election, 7 weeks, and emphatically denying everything that would have happened on the subject of malfeasance and misappropriation and even misconduct, even mismanagement, all those allegations that were hurled at the former PLP party. When you see the former leader, Prime Minister Christie, has found his voice to come and say this to deal with some level of confidence that he can face the public on these matters, because he was on Brother Wendell's show yesterday and he said some of those things. It tells you that, he ain't afraid of no ghosts. He ain't got nothing. He ain't scared of nothing. You see the point? He ain't scared of nothing. What they talking about? They're wrong is what he's saying. And he says that they did everything right. Now, in all of that, you can't have people in the present government appearing to be cowering like they ain't got nothing to say. You see the point? Because that will set in a kind of distaste in the Bahamian people's mouth, and they start to question. You always tell us the right thing. What's going on here? What you all saying? Be clear with us. Be clear with us. Be clear with us. And so today on Hard Copy, the Friday tradition, we've got to pause for the cause and check stock. Let's check stock politically and see if there's going to be fallout, and see if the present ministers, there are many of them, to see if they are now in control of all their situations, that they are answering their telephone, that they are speaking to the public, that they're engaging people on these talk radio programs, that they are giving face time to their constituents, or is it that they are very, very busy doing their own thing now because the budget is over as far as they're concerned, and everybody is looking to go on a summer break or somewhere else? You see, you can't leave these people hanging. That's the first rule in governance. You got to talk to your people who put you there. And so I suppose we have to take stock. Now, of course, we say all that against the backdrop of this, that there's a lot of cushion that they have. Still, you got to give them at least 3, 4, 5 months, perhaps even 6 months, some people say. But you see, that's not the essence of the matter. The essence of the matter is this. You have to see telltale signs of the direction that they plan to go in. And if people could even determine the direction that they want to go in, the new government, then they will say, you know what, we hear you, let's go with it, let's see what happens. But in the absence of the cop, in the absence of nothing being said deliberately and purposefully to the Bahamian public, people will start making up their own minds about things. You don't need that to set in. And so, as I said yesterday, you got to govern. You got to show some signs of good governance. You got to show that you're interested. And once you do that, people understand, See, when I hear the political stock taking and generals and everybody else who people believe should be silent and quiet, no, they don't think so. They think that they are getting indication that it doesn't look as if they're being even checked for because they can't get a telephone call through. So that's going to bring about the kind of disgruntlement and grumbling and all that kind of stuff. And let me tell you something. Ask Perry Gladstone, Christie, and them. Between the years of 2002 and 2007, they learned very quickly what happened. When the people started complaining that they ain't getting no call back, they can't reach nobody, they ain't see this one, all that kind of stuff. The next 5 years, they were gone. That's how it is. This is a very, very tough crowd that you're dealing with. You got to get that in your heads. It's a tough crowd. They don't have no time for jiving around. They have no time to be, I suppose, cavalierly just dismissed, that kind of thing. And this goes from top to bottom. This is top class generals and right down to the small man. You need to know that. And why is it important? Because, see, once the people, get me now, don't get me wrong. What I'm saying is once the body politic see the direction that you're going in, and they get a good idea that this is what they're doing, and it's been articulated that this is what they are doing, the people can relax a little bit and say, okay, let's go with it, let's see. But in the absence of nothing at all, they start making up their own minds. So we're going to talk about that. Political, taking stock politically today. Taking stock politically within the body politic of those in the opposition. Taking stock politically by those many ministers who are now finding themselves defending things already and trying to, keep things pristine and clear. And of course, taking stock about the minister administration. Just what are they saying that they are going to use as priority matters in the early goings of trying to rescue this country? And that's why it's important. 325-0235 or 325-0242 or 43. 325-0252 or 53. What do you feel, folks? Talk with me. You can talk with me. I'm listening to you. I think many of you have been talking about a number of things, and some of you have even been talking in parables. And the thing about it is to speak frank. Express yourself. That's the whole idea. And try to express yourself in a way where it's respectful and that you're trying to say, listen, you guys got to say to us what is happening. I'll tell you why. You have a situation with the this bill, what's it called? The Freedom of Information Act, right? That's something that could be implemented. That's something that should be enacted. That's something that the other fellows left there, and there's some things that you might want to polish upon it, but this can be a springboard of where we're going. A springboard of where we need to go is making sure that we're dealing effectively with the economy. A springboard of where we want to go is also effectively making sure that we are managing as best as possible the immigration situation in our country, top to bottom. Not just on repatriation exercises, but on everything, work permits, spousal permits, permanent residency, the whole 9 yards. And until those things are really cleared up, you could have people asking all kinds of questions. And in the midst of all of that, this whole thing that can be the noisy confusion of life. That's what it could be, the noisy confusion of life. We understand that there is a break now from the Parliament where they're on vacation until, or supposed to be on a summer break until around September the 18th, thereabouts. It's a long time, eh? Last day of June, July, August, September, 3 months. Anyway, you can call me, express yourself, 325-023516. I think my guest is out here, so we'll do some chit-chat. And I'm going to try to find out today what people are saying. What's been the fallout? Has there been a fallout, or is everything cool? Maybe everything is nice and cool, and we all, the majority of us, I suppose, or the majority of you, may understand what is really happening. I will tell you, in the field where we are as journalists and media people, we ain't got a clue. We ain't got a clue because we ain't feel it. I can tell you that. And we ain't got a clue because everybody is talking and talking as they move. There's no definite kind of, this is what we are all about in the early goings. That's important. What I see my media colleagues are looking at is talking about what this one's saying, what that one's saying, how it conflicts. What I see my ministerial comrades and associates and people like that, Dwayne Sands in particular, he is now on the bicycle trying to clear up mess that may have been provoked by all this talk about this thing missing, the next thing missing. So now people said, I hear $25 million missing from here. See, you got to get this thing right now. And then, of course, some of this thing is also because there's Carl Bethel, who seems to be a little bit divided within himself. Some would say. I wouldn't say so. I'd say Carl knows exactly what he's doing. But the Attorney General is seeming to be giving mixed messages as to how they should proceed And if they will proceed and all that, not on the Bahama thing. I'm talking about on the actual things about reported misappropriation or reported scandalous business that happened under the Christie administration, which Christie said he don't even know what they talking about because it ain't so. And so when people see all of these things, they start to say, now, where really exactly are we? This is where leadership comes in. If you can lead, let's go. So I'm going to go to my guest in just a minute. Let me just take this call here. Hard Copy, how you doing? Hi, Hard Copy, how are you?
Hi, Mr. McKinney.
Yes, ma'am.
Good afternoon. I think the situation that's going on right now is to be expected, and I suggest to the government to take their time and all the revelations that they have brought forward, bring the proof upon it, because you would have a rebuttal from the opposition now. And so, and I say to the Bahamian people, let's take it easy. Let's let them do their work. We cannot expect them to refine all these revelations, bring these revelation stuff, and then sort them out and solve them right away. We've got to take our time and let them take their time and finish bringing things together, and then we could see what is what.
How much time do you
There are a
think?
lot of allegations, and so I say, give the government a chance in this break that they're going to have. They should be in with the auditors and documenting everything so they can come up with what they need to come up with.
How much time?
You can't expect them to go find these things today.
Can I say something, ma'am? How much time do you expect them to, in fact, put all this thing together that you're saying that they need time to do this and need time to do that? Remember now, they were the ones who brought these allegations, and immediately the people in the opposition are saying it ain't so. So there is a quandary as to they are rebutting it, but of course the proof is on those who have brought this thing to bear to the Bahamian public, wouldn't you say?
But I would think the opposition would do something like that because
it's
they
expected,
are the ones who are
they're getting soaked
by their head. So you understand? So the government now has to take, they know what they found, they have to document it and go from there. But if they allow themselves to get frazzled by all the rebuttals, then they're not going to be able to handle it.
I see your point.
They have to take their time.
See, but that's just it. Are they being frazzled by it? See, that's just it.
But I don't know if they're being frazzled, but from what is being said on the radio, it's like you're getting the opposition pushing, you got them pushing.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying. See, and it's so early that the opposition could find their voice to say this ain't so and that ain't so, and calling them out and calling them liars. That's what is actually happening. We have to stay in the game at the forefront of it because that is what is happening. And that's why that can easily undermine the intention of the new government led by the Prime Minister, Hubert Minnis, to go and do what they're doing. And in the face of all that, they cannot be seen to be or perceived to be as a group of fellas who are just there now and they're headed on vacation early. They've got to go there and do some other things outside the parliament to make sure that they can sew up and reassure people that this is where we're going. And they can articulate several key points that will deal with governance.
That would be a good idea.
See, governance.
Good idea.
Listen, this whole thing about all this talk about people, teeth this and all that, we hear that. We knew that before the election. We believed that before the election. What has to happen now, though, in my view, is that the government presently, and it's a very, very good government, it's a strong team, they have to articulate that these are some of the things that we are planning to do in the next few months, in the next few days. And people can then focus on those things and say, let's get our debate hanging around that because they're going to deal with immigration, they're going to deal with this, they're going to deal with that, they're going to deal with the economy, that kind of stuff. And then they're looking for other ways to grow this economy. We take for granted that the government has a whole monumental task to perform at this particular time, and they came in at a disadvantage in a big way. But the point is they have to still govern. They have to still be the ones to articulate this is what we plan to do. And once they do that, I think we'll be in good place, at a good place as far as the perception and the attitude of the Bahamian people.
I think their summer break is not going to be a vacation. Their summer break is going to be a work vacation.
Well, that's what it should be.
And they have to sit down, and all of them need to sit down together.
Now you're talking. You see, that's what we're saying. You sit down together, get it done.
Sit down together and let
plan.
one voice come out and let them put it together. I think once they do that, and who's going to be the spokesman, speak, blah, 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 blah.
Yep.
That's the way it's going to have to be. And
They
I
gotta be
think
on
they
one
need
accord.
to just sit together and you keep themselves unified.
Yeah, one accord. They must be on one accord. You're
On one
absolutely
accord.
right.
And they got to bring Carl Bell in if he off, because he started all this mess. They got to
Oh,
bring him
goodness.
in.
You got to be fair to Carl Bethel. Carl Bethel is a fellow who has to be in a position of neutrality. So while he sits in the cabinet as one of those persons who are around the table, the truth of the matter is that he has to look at this thing and be absolutely fair and balanced and focused. And I think that's what he was trying to do when he said in the House of Assembly, "Look, I believe that there's nothing there that shows me anything criminality." Or anything that borders on criminality at this particular point. I think he's being genuine. I think as a lawyer, a noted one, he saw that, there's nothing here that's being said so far that means anything. What he may have been saying without saying it was that, listen, rhetoric is one thing, facts is something else. And you see, you've got to bring facts on these kind of things. When you bring the allegation, you can't be bringing these allegations, then backtracking and saying a couple of days later, well, I stand to be corrected. I thought it was this, that, and that. And that's what happened in some of the government ministries. That is what happened with some of the government ministers who had to take exception or who had to take another look and say, well, it didn't really go that way. You see, and these kinds of things will confuse people. That's all I'm saying.
Well, mistakes can be made because some document may be removed from when they start looking at some documentation, and that could happen. But I think
Listen, Alan, I'm glad you said that just now. You hit something on the head. Listen to this. You know why some things may be missing and documentation may not be in place is because from Jump Street, any of the view, those who are in political circles and who've been in governments before, okay, they believe that those boards and those chairmen of those boards should have been named after the first 3 weeks. Let me tell you why. Because when those people go inside those areas of agencies and all this thing, they will be able to determine this is what is going on without anybody getting a chance to do any foolishness. You see, so because the boards were not named, and even up to 7 weeks have not been named, there's been not one announcement of what these boards are going to look like and who they. And it's a big job. If you put your people there with boards and stuff, they can block and mitigate against all kinds of things that others may be trying to hide or play crazy with. And that's how the government is going to know a lot of other things, because this is the first time they're in there. They don't know what to look for, but they will have people who are part of these different boards and stuff who can say, boy, I'm hearing this, I'm hearing that, and they could go and chase it down and see what's happening. But they've not named them yet. I believe that they may name them this weekend.
That's a difficult situation because you have workers and boards in place that could move anything.
And they have been there from when? From the last what?
5 years.
But that's what I'm saying to you. And you see, that's, to me, if I had to give a rating on something like that, I would say, that was a mistake. That they didn't go immediately to go and put some people in place. Even if they didn't name all of them, they would have been able to do certain things in key areas to hold it, and then bring the other people along later on. But waiting for to make a complete list of the whole board, that may have been that. Now, I'm not saying it is, but it may have been to the detriment of the pertinent information of the salient points that Minnis and his team would need to shore up and say, you all talking foolishness, Christy. See it right here. That's the point.
I still think from all the revelations that has come forward, they still could do a good documentation. The one other thing that I would like Carl Bethel to do is show us the heads of agreement and the concessions. I would be happy to see those, and then I would believe him totally.
Lay it bare.
Up to now, I don't
to lay
really
it bare.
see him clear like that.
So do you see Carl as a friend or foe? I mean, he was the first, he was the second appointment, I think it was, right? It was the deputy prime minister was named and the minister of finance. And then, of course, there was Carl, Carl was named first out of Minnis' mouth. That's the first thing he did. He appointed the attorney general. So, I mean, because that has happened, I mean, it should be that the affiliates and those who love the Free National Movement and they're now the government, they should be high on a Carl Bethel. But it seems as if there are people who are concerned about Carl Bethel saying what he said initially. Are you one who believes that Carl is, you said earlier, he messed up this whole thing?
And his attitude and what he said and how he talks about other places It wasn't necessary. The Bahamian people didn't want to hear that. They, even though they may know other people give concessions and stuff, they didn't want to hear him saying that.
I understand.
And that's where he kind of messed it up.
I see.
If he didn't say that, he would have been more clearer, you know. That's kind of turning people off.
Yeah. Well, you know, it is what it is, in the words of all of those, including the great Perry Gladstone Christie, who now has found his voice, and he is talking, and he is talking. He's saying, look, he don't even know what these guys talking about. And the strangest thing is that Christie, after such a horrendous defeat and after such a horrific loss, he's been able to find his voice very quickly, and he's putting his complexion on this nation, whether we realize it or not. He said, look, that ain't so. So who's to say that the prime minister, the former prime minister, don't know what he's talking about? I mean, he's saying that ain't so. And so that in itself creates a challenge for the new government, because they have made many allegations. Many.
I think they need to secure everything that the auditors have. They need to secure them from everybody.
You better.
Let nobody have access to those
Otherwise, my dear, they're going to have egg in their faces, because if they can't substantiate a lot of these things, then Carl Bethel will be a prophet. He's right. He'll be the man who says, I don't see anything here. There's been no documentation that you can prove to me. So, you know, let's move on.
Been to the party and not to the public like that, because he cast a lot of aspersions on the whole thing and doubt.
Listen, Carl Bethel is the appointed Attorney General. He is qualified. He's been there before. He's done an excellent job, and he's an honest fellow. That's all it is. He's being honest about the matter. So you can't really beat him up because he didn't see anything so far.
Well, I would like to see him take a different perspective.
Like what?
Things I would like to say to the Bahamian people.
Listen, you know what Minnis said yesterday, my dear? Minnis said yesterday in the newspapers, he says, look, we are a country of laws. He says, the government of the Bahamas, this particular government, we believe in the law. We will follow the law. See, Carl is the fellow who is the epitome of the law. He is the AG, and if they're going to follow the law, they can't expect their AG to be saying any old thing reckless because it's supposed to be playing to the political, delight of the Free National Movement members. He has to be frank and clear and within the law, and that's all he was doing.
But I just think they should secure all their stuff that they already revealed. And one thing I would like to say to the Bahamian people is, do not worship Bahama. God is our source.
No question about it.
Chinese and not his Marillion. God is our source, and God has brought us through many, many dangerous toils and tears. And I say to the Bahamian people today, do not lose focus on the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob.
Absolutely. Amen.
Don't praise Chinese. Chinese. Don't praise his Marillion.
I'm with you 100%.
Look to God.
I'm with you 100%. Absolutely.
Okay.
Well said. Thank you, dear.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
All the best now. Bye-bye. Okay, 325-0235-6. My guest must be out there. And, of course, that's a good little warm-up, right? It's a good little warm-up for the lady who has challenged some things. And you get she has actually played right into my narrative, because the truth is there are people who are upset about what Mr. Bethel said. You see the point? It's proven now. There are people, and they are diehard supporters of the government, not necessarily FNM, but supporters of this new government, who are upset that this fella has now ruined the whole apple cart because he has said some things that they believe is premature. I believe that Carl Bethel is within the law to have said what he said, because he knows what he saw based upon information that's come to him so far. But he did come back and say, if we in fact continue to dig and probe, I suppose, he says that we will pass on all the relevant documentation and information that may be stink with malfeasance and misappropriation and the rest of it. And the chips will fall where they may, because we will do what we have to do to investigate. And if those investigations yield anything substantial, we will then seek prosecution. He didn't say it in all those clear words, but that was the gist of what he was talking about after he made that initial statement, and then he kind of recoiled from that and tried to fix it in a better way that will be palatable for the diehard fans and supporters of the government to accept. In other words, he took the fence at first, and then it was just then he decided to chase that with some water and smooth it over, and that's where we are. What do you think? 325-0235-6. I'm going to bring in my special pollster. he has a special place here on Hot Copy because, you know, we depended upon him a whole lot during the time of what was happening, and he was absolutely accurate on every occasion. And I'm understanding today that as he went around doing his stuff for the last few weeks, the last 7 weeks, he's finding out that after the first 2 weeks, things were looking good. And then he's finding out now that things are beginning to sour in some cases by people who you would least expect. And even some letter writers who had been great advocates of the government, they are now kind of like concerned. What the hell's going on is what they're saying. In not direct words, but that's the whole message. Our polls to Mark Storr is going to be with me in just a minute, and then we're going to hear exactly what he has to say. Hard Copy, how you doing before the break?
Good evening, Steve.
Good evening, sir.
How you doing?
Man, I good.
Steve, one thing I always follow politics all of my life. Let me tell you something. What I always disagree with, any leader of the country being the Minister of Finance. I never believe in that you should always have an appointee like what the President and Minister has done. He ain't take no post. That if anything happened, his hand would be clean. I could be the Prime Minister of the country. I could do things because I in charge of finance. I could do things, and when I come back, I could say, such and such a thing ain't happen.
Right.
You know, nobody can come out and say straight and plain that I moved this or so, or this was stolen. So I ain't going for what the former Prime Minister say. Anytime a person could get their hand on something and they can get away with it, they can get away with it, and they can admit to the public that I steal it, because it can make them look bad unless somebody caught them and disgrace them and let them know that. But they can come out and say that. So I don't believe in that rhetoric, but I ain't stealing or my hand clean or whatever. Your hand clean, people will know. And what I looking at now, what I looking at now is with you talking about now with the now government. They went in as hearsay. Now they is on vacation now for the next 3 months. People should give them time now that when they come back, when they come back the next 3 months, and they don't find anything they could get on them to let them know that, hey, all of this was an allegation and you all is wrong. But you just can't say it because it just ain't even 2 months yet. So they got to veil the situation, and when they come back to the people, they got to have something substantially that, hey, this wasn't like what we say or this was we happen. So call them, say this one say that, but you got to wait until the next 3 months, and if they can't, then they could say, well, the people could get on it. But at the present time, they can't get on them, Steve. Because I know people right now, if you have access to money and you could get away with it, you'll get away with it. And if you can't get away with it,
that's because this country
I
gets corrupt.
say that. But Steve, I don't believe what the former Prime Minister said, because he had access to the money, and he wouldn't say I steal it or whatever to make himself look bad. So you take care.
I appreciate you.
Season, Steve.
Thanks. All the best to you. I can hear what he's saying and understand his reasoning there. More time may yield some better results. The Prime Minister, former, who is now just in opposition, but he's not actively in politics, I suppose, anymore. He has said that he don't believe any of these things, and these guys, you know, they're talking about. He was the substantive Minister of Finance and the Prime Minister. But the real McCoy, the real fellow who was in finance that did the kind of on-hands daily bookkeeping and whatever else was one Michael Alcides. Michael Alcides is long gone and says, look, I gone. He says, after they voted me out, he says, I gone. He says, I am not running no more in politics. That was published in the newspapers right after the election. He says, that's it for me. He's finished with it. In contrast, Ken Dorset says, no, I can be in this for the long run because he loves politics. But Alcides said, that's it, I gone. And you could understand what is happening here. Alcides was the one who got the anger of these people so high that this, that's where the bad money gone. This sparked a whole lot of stuff. In fact, Christie turned around days later at the College of the Bahamas or the University of the Bahamas and says, look, I'm challenged to go and make sure that this fella don't piss away the money. And remember that? See, so Keita's then take a shortcut. He gone to the back. He gone. He ain't checking no more. Christie now has to deal with this whole matter because he is the man who was really substantially in control of the people's purse. So the stuff is on him, whether he likes it or not. And the gentleman may be right in not saying he buys this idea that they don't know what happened and what these fellas in the FNM are talking about now. There's got to be something there. The Free National Movement just couldn't go and just set all kind of wild allegations just because they wanted to. Or could they have? See the point? All right. Steve, let's run to the break. This is Hard Copy. And when we come back, Mark Storr sits with me. We'll talk and chit-chat. You can call me, too, at 325-0235 or 6. 325-0242 or 43. 325-0252 or 53. If you want to text me or WhatsApp me, very simple. 376-9234. It's the Friday tradition. This is where we hang out on a Friday and talk a little bit of business and a little bit of politics. But, we do it in a way just so that we can, keep things warm and interesting. All right? We're back in a minute.
Get excited, Bahamas, as we celebrate our country's 44th birthday.
Wear your colors.
Wave your flag.
Decorate your homes and businesses.
And let's celebrate
the Beat Retreat, Boston and Parliament Squares on Sunday, the 2nd of July at 5:30 p.m.
National Pride Day, Boston and Parliament Squares will be transformed on Friday, the 7th of July. And the Grand Independence Celebration, Clifford Park, on Sunday, the 9th of July at 8 p.m.
Immediately following, at 1 a.m., John Canoe, the People's Love and Unity Rush.
Then, the grand finale.
On Monday, the 10th of July, will be a state reception, Government House.
This is an exciting calendar of events you won't want to miss.
Oh, no, I won't. Will you be there?
Of course, I will beat you there. So let's get involved and celebrate our country's 44th birthday together.
Based on the premise of anything you can do, we can do better in the Bahamas. The Bahamian Brewery is 100% Bahamian owned and operated. Our thanks to you, Bahamas, for supporting our family of beers and beverages. Sands Light, High Rock, Strong Back, Bush Crack, Pink Sands, and Triple B. Brewed and bottled here and consumed right here in our Bahamas. Now that's truly Bahamian. The Bahamian Brewery encourages all of its fans to drink in moderation.
I don't have money to waste. So when it comes to insurance, I come straight to Advantage Insurance on Collins Avenue. They find me the best rates on policies to cover my car, house, boat, business, and you get all kind of discounts. 15% off if you have a Hilltop home, 30% off if you're a first-time customer. They stay saving me money. When every dollar counts, count on Advantage.
Call Advantage Insurance at 356-0285 or visit us on Collins Avenue today. Advantage Insurance, celebrating 20 years.
This year, don't be caught singing the Christmas blues. Start saving now with your own B.O.B. Christmas Club account. Sign up before June 30th with just $20. Earn high interest and have guaranteed spending money in time for Christmas. Don't be left in a bind this year. Let B.O.B.'s Christmas Club account work for you. Sign up today at your nearest B.O.B. branch. B.O.B., your bank of solutions.
Be sure to stay cool all year round, especially when those hot summer months roll in. Keep cool with Cool Tech. Located at Tonic Williams Darling Highway, Cool Tech is your affordable #1 air conditioning center. They install and service everything they sell. That means prompt, reliable service 24/7. Cool Tech, the only way to stay cool with guarantee. Call Cool Tech now at 341-5665.
The
The Beauty Shack is having a braid bonanza. Right in time for this summer's sizzling months. On Friday, June 30th and Saturday, July 1st. Braids, and more braids will be priced to go. Under the tent. Now is the time to get your gold and silver braid accessory clips. Kanakalon, Havana, Goddess, Faux Lock, Expression, and Kinky, just to name a few. Don't forget to cash in on all the hair, beauty, and skincare products at rock bottom prices to enhance your beach glow. Everything in the store is 15% off. Nail techs and beauticians get 20% off. Early bird shoppers will receive an extra savings while supplies last.
Your one-stop shop for everything is Hodges, baby. We've got the hookup for you. Hodges, open Monday through Saturday, 7:30 to 7 p.m. Sunday, 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. Holidays, 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. We are stocked with everything. Automotive, electrical, lawn and garden, household, nails and screws for the nailers and the screwers, plumbing, paint. We also have grocery items and personal care products. We are located 22 St. Albans Drive. Phone 323-4375. or email myhodges.com.
Summer is here, so get ready to fire up your weekend with Top Superstore's annual barbecue grill tent sale for one day only, Saturday, July 1st. Join us under the tent and find a variety of Char-Grill gas grills, combo gas and charcoal grills, and smokers. Head on into the Superstore to find bamboo torches, beverage coolers, barbecue utensils, and so much more. So don't miss our annual barbecue grill tent sale, Saturday, July 1st at Top Superstore, Wilton Street.
Driving on West Bay in rush hour? Hard. Getting a new car to enjoy the ride? Easy. Carting the kids around after school? Hard. Getting a car to fit them all? Easy. Get an easy auto loan from Commonwealth Bank. Super low rates, fast 24-hour approval, no loan fee, and no payments for 2 months. So come to Commonwealth Bank, and your next car is easy. Commonwealth Bank. Terms and conditions apply.
Listen up, Bahamas. Grow green to breathe clean. And Rocky Farms Nursery is the best place to start. They are your everything you are looking for store. New and improved. Bigger and better with varieties gone to bed. Soils, poinsettias, indoor and outdoor plants, fertilizers of every type, swordgrass, and the like. It's all at Rocky Farms Nursery on Seabreeze Lane. Go visit them today and behold. Call them at 324-1239. Fax them at 364-8113 or send them an email at rockyfarms@patelnet.bs. Rocky Farms Nursery.
Time to put on that radio. It's the Steve McKinney Show. Bahamas Live, ain't no time. Touching every soul. Trying to get the message out to people far and near. Giving thanks to the one who brought us here. Brought us here. God is here.
You're right on the heartbeat. I mean, and the pulse of the people in the nation.
It gives people information what they don't really think about.
And I mean, it's the bomb.
I am just amazed. Keep up the good work. I'm one of those persons out here who believe in everything that you're doing.
If you had a passion in your voice.
He's very knowledgeable and just what everything he does.
He has a more calm, more balanced, and a more tranquil attitude with the people that call in the show. So I would say he's a better speaker or show host.
There's one show that I think that the hearing people need to listen to. It's Hard Coffee.
Welcome back on Hard Copy. A special good afternoon and greetings to Vernell Store, my old neighbor from on top of the hill on Gibbs Lane, right across from Margaret Gibbs. Vernell Store, now about 83 there, looking young and still doing her stuff. We say, welcome to the show. We thank you so much. 325-023546 is the telephone number you can call me. You can text me at 376-9234. And now at this particular point, I brought my main man, Mark Store, in here because Mark has been moving about. and finding out. This is his assignment. This is what he does. And polling and checking and that kind of stuff. And nowadays, after 7 weeks, Christie is talking. He's not talking as bold as he used to sound. He sounds a little bit down, but of course he is talking. And he could only been down because of his good friend, PJ Nottage, who passed yesterday. So I understand that. And of course, we again offer our condolences to everyone and sundry, especially his family. But the thing about it is that, notwithstanding that Christie made an appearance on a local show yesterday, he also engaged a couple of members of the media. I suppose because we knew nothing about it. But it was good to hear from him and whatever he had to say, because these things are important. It's a part of what we are doing in our democracy. So Christie has found his voice to talk, and Christie said a whole lot of things, including serious denials about all this overspending, I call it, this wild spending in the Bahamas that he's been accused of by the now Minnis administration. And as a result of it, there's a lot of talk and chatter going on. We're going to talk with Mark to find out what people are saying and how they're responding to all this thing. And if, in fact, people seem mixed up or confused about the whole thing. Carl Bethel on his hand saying that, the administration saying this, some minister now saying that, and Christie's now talking, and, this thing can be confusing based upon what you want to believe, or, as the Doobie Brothers say, on what a fool believes. What a fool believes. And so we talk about it today. Mark, how you doing?
I'm very well, Steve. Thank you again for this privilege to reach a wider audience and to really let the Bahamian people have a voice, because as you know, it ain't just me who talking. It's what we hear on the ground. Before we get started in earnest, I want to say, from May 10th, from the past election day, there's been some significant happenings.
Is that right?
Personally, I want to, man, that, and it has nothing to do with the winning or losing of any party or persons, but I would have come into a situation that really made a major change in my life. That person would know what I'm speaking of. I'm not at liberty to say any names.
You got engaged. You got married.
Pump your brakes, Steve. Pump your brakes.
What happened? You got a Big Mac truck?
Yeah, but I say May 10th now, so it's just June, man. So, but we're speaking of, and things have been charged, and we're moving along steady. Now to what's happening here in the country and in the country politic. We have a situation here on the ground, and I can start by saying it like this: all you former challengers who were so readily reached by phone and other mediums, who done change your blasted number or whatever, be coming for you. I have been able to reach the past persons in government, in the past regime.
Past administration.
Like
Christie them. You've been able to reach them.
Than those who were trying to get in, who made all kinds of not only public promises, but personal promises. We coming for you. Ain't no honeymoon. Ain't no getting to know you, because we got to know you on the campaign trail.
So you dismissing this thing where people say, get him a chance.
Totally.
Ma, get him a chance.
Totally. We ain't for that in the ghetto. Us grassroots folks ain't for that. So the expectation of the sweeting up and the cuddling and the cajoling and the like is done. Things hard, things rough. The challenges that are out there for the general populace ain't easy. So we are not going through. We will have a late honeymoon if necessary.
But right now, they
you
gotta get working. They gotta get
I
cracking.
hope this is a working vacation, and I ain't speaking only but cabinet. You see, we may focus on cabinet to say, well, oh, they get a break, but let's hope no. We ain't hoping the cabinet working, because them buzzards better be working too. But I'm talking about the regular MP who are representatives of the people. Y'all better be working out there on this vacation. This break ain't no blasted break, because it ain't no time for no break.
Well, the truth is they're going to be on a break from last week and
Too long.
to September 18th, somewhere around there. And I know a lot of people are concerned about that, but I really believe that they're going to decide after hearing what has been transpired in the last few weeks, not weeks, but days on this show in particular, that people aren't ready for that. And their whole thing is that we hope that they're going to be, people are saying it nicely and gently, that we hope that they're going to have this a vacation where they're working and getting some things done. The work that you're talking about, though, is not this idea of people who are in the upper lounge who will say, or the echelon who will say, these people are looking to MPs to do things. No, this is the kind of work that you're saying, get the assessment, get what is happening in your constituency. You didn't get a chance to do it. It was a short sprint. This was a 4-week run. So you ain't know nothing in the area. Half of the people who were in those areas campaigning didn't even visit the people's house. I was talking with Paul Moss. Paul told me, say, a lot of these people like Jerome and all of them who were looking to win, these guys never even visited homes because they had no time. So the point is, a lot of fellas who were doing things, they couldn't get around to the people. They got to get to know these people. They got to get in those constituencies. They got to start having meetings. They got to start having town hall meetings in their constituencies so they could understand what the people's ideas are. That's what you're saying.
Absolutely. Steve, you spot on. Like you were saying, get the lead out and get cracking. See, and let me throw this out too. So this is for some specific people. Y'all thought that little change y'all brought around when y'all was trying to get in, gonna do it? That ain't 5 years worth. That's all I'm saying. They know who I'm talking to. They know what I mean. See, the PLBU is the people money. And let me make this disclaimer. This is all Mark Lester Stores talk. Peace 107.5 is not responsible or culpable in what I will say. So the government passed, allegedly then, used the people's money to try and make some inroads.
So they say.
Right. And I can't understand what Mr. Christie getting on the airwaves talking about the overspending. We know we can see how the money went. So let's blow that out of the water. But the money is that the other folks brought who were in opposition at the time, the monies that they brought wasn't government money, but that ain't 5 years worth that they brought. That's all I'm saying.
Lord, what is this?
I hope they catch.
Who money this was, Mark?
But Steve,
this was them other fellas.
Other
money.
people money.
You mean people who showed up to the government house and was
other
present
people's
early
money?
for the roll call?
Yeah. Let's be clear about it. So let me tell you something, folks. Please, for God's sake, it ain't no honeymoon. It's no time to cuddle, because we ain't getting down to that part of it now. It is work time. It's like husband and wife. Buddy, ain't no time to get fresh when it's time to be out there on the job working. So ain't no cuddling time now. Just as you came on the campaign trail and talk about the urgency of getting rid of the PLP, if it was so urgent then, it is more urgent now that you're in there. You're seeing what is happening. Every blasted ministry and minister is saying what they're meeting, the challenges. So the people ain't looking for you all to play and pussyfoot around. Get out there and do the work. Okay, so some fellas may not go to jail. Okay, some fellas may not be prosecuted. Fine. But I don't care. We want to see work.
Now, let me ask you something, Mark. Some fellas may not go to jail. Some fellas may not be investigated, as you said, and that's rightly so. And based upon what Carl Battle has said initially, it doesn't look as if that's a high possibility. But the point is this. Let's say that they are, in fact, investigating and all that. Do you suppose that this may be a little too much to be looking all under the rock for things and become distracted? Because you remember I said this before earlier on the show, earlier after the election victory. You run a risk of becoming so distracted based upon the rah-rah of the people that you can miss your mark and you can be a person who is not able to chew gum and walk. In other words, you are on this thing to go and find what happened, but at the same time, you have to also offset that with governance. True, honest to goodness governance that is going to be effective. You just can't be so caught up in
the people. Yeah, absolutely. You see, wait, listen, man, Steve, grassroots, ordinary folks, ain't it rah no more. You know, that's for them other folks. There were some other people, and again, I'm scared. So they said who just shouting out one leader, this and that. That was for them. The red and the green, who were in opposition, they ain't looking for no rah-rah. They want to see results, speedy results. Yeah. They want to see the semblance of doing things. We into that rah-rah.
Could they be stuck in the mud by just being caught up with this whole thing now about who take what and who misappropriate what?
Their problem.
Because, see, this is what has happened now. Christie's already talking. He's already out there saying that ain't so. So, and Glennis Hanna was here on Friday past, on the Friday tradition, and she says, all them things that they were saying was a bunch of lies, and the people bought their lies. And now the proof is there that there's nothing wrong. And even the Bahama report says everything is good, the unsealed deal. So it make people say, you got to be joking. You mean that's what they telling us that? And the government, our own government is now saying they ain't see nothing there that could cause for criminality, things to be investigated. So people are now in a position where it looks as if they've been duped or been fooled if they believe the statements of Glennis Hanna Martin, the statements of the Brave Davis, the statements of Perry Gladstone Christie. And in a minute, you'll start seeing the reaction to those kinds of statements. And so far today, we've already been on for almost 2 hours. And I will tell you this, that the reaction has not been one, except for one caller who says that he ain't believe what Christie's saying. I mean, but the point is, Christie is saying these things. Where is the rebuttal from the government to say, now look here? And see, this is where it comes in. You got to prove what you are saying. Now you then go on and say all of these things are wrong. Some ministers are recoiling and retracting what they've said, but it's already been done. It's on the records of the House of Assembly. When push come to shove now, there's got to be some kind of, let's prove what you're saying is correct. And the worst thing that could happen is that the worst scenario is this, that they don't prove what they're saying. One gentleman said to give them 3 months, and if they don't have nothing by then you can boot them. But the point is if they don't do that in this particular time, it's not going to be a good thing. Plus, if they do something in this particular time for about the next 3 months while they're on vacation, their concentration is going to be on trying to put proof to this thing and not on trying to bring good governance to this thing. And that's what the dilemma is. It's a catch-22 situation.
I'm going to approach that from this angle. Recently, Mr. Chester Cooper from the great Exuma and constituency, he would have said publicly, specifically to the PLP machinery, that they need to repent and try to seek forgiveness from the Bahamian populace.
After minutes, it told him the same thing the day before.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, he came out, said it. Well, then you'd have to wonder, what really did the PLP do so egregious that they need to repent?
Good point.
Okay? So let's, from that standpoint, dismiss the nonsense that Mr. Christie respectfully, Ms. Hanna Martin, who I love to death, is saying, and all other cohorts of the PLP saying that were lies that the FNM told. But on the same token, the FNM must stop playing around. And if they want to come in as a party who came in on lies,
so be it.
Sad will be their cry. Because they think the PLP get whooped. But when you will come in as a party that came in on lies, people ain't gonna forget you. Steve, you
I
keep good record.
remember the mortgage the mortgage situation with mortgage relief. I remember all the talk from the PLP that says that we're going to make sure there's land reform, that we're going to make sure that Bahamians can get monies from the bank by putting down as collateral their generation property. None of these things happen. People held that against them,
Exactly, all those things. And I'm saying to you, Mr. McKinney, people will remember. So we ain't gonna take it that the F&M campaign on one platform and then gonna get into govern and do nonsense.
Make a right about turn.
And then we ain't having it.
People are accusing the F&M of trying to go in a different direction already. Minnis has come up with some good things that he wants to do. And you got to see that as giving him credit on that particular point, because I believe in fair and balance. I'll tell you this. But the point is, when you are going to make a move about the not repeating the value-added tax, as you had said on the campaign trail all along, and then you didn't even go to the point where you could say, well, we'll reduce some breadbasket items. See, that's kind of hard on people because, boy, people voted for that.
We had that great expectation. See, listen, we were pissed from those initial appointments. Let's be real.
You mean with the F&M?
Yes.
I'm listening. I'm all ears.
The people, the regular folks were concerned when Mr. Bethel's names came out. We were concerned.
As the Attorney General.
Absolutely. And no slant on Mr. Bethel. Excellent person. I mean, he's good. People like him. They were upset though.
But why were they upset? They didn't question his credentials.
No.
But they figured that he would not fit the bill to do what has to happen.
I'm gonna say it like how we say it. First, all God.
Okay.
That's what we're saying first.
Yeah.
Okay.
Weapons. Yeah.
We could juggle that and say, well, okay, we wanted someone in there, or the people needed someone there who knows the age, right? Because he's been there in the life. But that was the first thing I was saying. Well, this old fellow, not old in terms of age, but been there, blah, blah, blah.
You're talking about the old weapons. Old weapons of the old day. They're supposed to be a new day.
Right. First thing that was said. Secondly, they say, well, hold on, though. There are other persons who came into the party who are qualified or who's in that arena of law who could be even more tenacious if it's to get in there to get to the root of the nonsense that was perceived.
I got the perfect pair. Ellsworth Johnson. Ellsworth Johnson. He was here on the show many times before the election, and his kind of line of dealing with things was so serious. I got scared even sitting by him. I said, boy, this fellow will get this job done.
Listen,
they're going to have to hold him back.
If anybody who's had the opportunity to speak to Mr. Johnson would know that he wouldn't have been no pushover, not even for Mr. Minnis, if he had been given that post. That is what has been said on the ground.
That's what you're hearing out there.
If he was given that post, things would have been rolling along. That is what it said. So we go with what was said. Old God, kind of a diss of somebody who's new, but also with Mr. Bethel, it is believed that because he's such a savvy politician, that he will political his way in doing certain things relative to holding the past administration to account. And that's the fear. We don't want no more political maneuvering. We want them to come in and do what they say they will do and get things done. Soy sauce? Washing machines?
Tax exemption.
Tie that in with the bread basket items and the relief that is needed in the doggone grassroots.
I got something else for you. Lobster and, of course, shrimp.
Salmon? Huh? So Mr. McKinney,
Oh, I could use some of that now.
Boy,
I could afford it.
man, I had some anyhow. so anyhow, I told them like, try to be calm because it is hot out there, Steve, and the people are hot. The general folks look at what and they kick up a storm when stem cell thing was passed when
My God, no.
yeah. Okay, so now you gonna come and follow up with washing machine and soy sauce. Only people benefiting from soy sauce in the ghetto, as we say. The Chinese restaurant.
Sprinkle a little soy sauce
So
on that, Mark.
they give you packets of it.
Yeah, we want a little soy sauce. Sprinkle some soy sauce
So again,
on that ragu. What are they? Ragu noodles? Sprinkle some soy sauce on it. Ramen noodles.
we wonder what these moves are about. You see? And
They
again,
don't seem to be moves, on a very sober note, that favors people who really are looking with great expectation for something to happen for them.
the average person, it's not reaching. Sad to say.
But people are saying, give them a chance. They
Yeah,
said they
yeah,
can, they can do something for you, somewhere along the line.
you don't get no chance when you propagate out there, stumping hard on the campaign trail that you ready from day one, and you hit the ground running. And you
Let's talk about that for a second. I've got calls, but hold tight. We can get those calls in a minute. Let's talk about that for a second. Hitting the ground running is what was the perception by so many people, and they say, you know what, we could really mess up this PLP. We don't want them no more. They too bad. They're out of control. Get rid of them. They got rid of them. Then they say, well, we got rid of them, and we ushered in the Free National Movement, which was the best political grouping that there was out there from an organization point of view. So they went with the Free National Movement. They got the Free National Movement in. And then when they got them in, they expect now that they're going to be doing some things, and they're going to do what? Hit the ground running. But they got some shocks because while they had all the form and fashion of the government coming in, they decided that, well, you know, they missed out on talking about a number of things in the speech from the throne. Nothing on energy reform, nothing on aragonite, nothing on the natural resources. These are things that were echoing out there in the campaign. Then, of course, there was all this thing with the economic zone, free zone, or the economic zone for no taxes and the rest of it.
Over the hill.
All of these things, people started to say, now, okay, we ready now. And then the first thing they got, sorry about that, value-added tax, we can't repeal it. And then, of course, even though we said that we might give some reduction, no, what's happening is that, you see, and the reality began to set in. That began to unravel the Free National Movement in its core, at its core, as to, but these are things that you want to promise. Now, what's going to happen? Then it opened the door because the opposition was right there. The opposition wasn't down and out. They were right there biting, biting at their legs because they figure we got y'all. And that's why there's the Glenn Martin thing with saying what she said. That is why there's the Brave Davis thing saying what he is saying. That's why Fred is doing, because they feel emboldened to the point where, and maybe Fred is right. What's the big deal? Remember what Fred said? What's the big deal? 5 years time we'll be back. That's a serious thing,
and that is a scary thing.
This isn't that psychological warfare on the Bahamian people that
But Steve, as you would have had Dr. David Allen in several times, the psyche of the Bahamian public now is so fragile. They better be careful. They better be careful because guess what? Even in all that you would have pronounced or announced just now, we even didn't see, hear, or start to feel in earnest the crime thing in the ghetto. You hear what I'm saying to you? People need to start feeling safe.
Yeah.
The feeling of safety is important in the ghetto. Okay? And we were all gung-ho on having a Mr. Marvin Dames come.
Yeah.
Very gung-ho.
How has he been so far in your estimation?
We understand that it's bigger than him. We understand that. And again, something like that. We can't give no honeymoon to that. We're
Not
talking
hit the
about
ground running and stick with it.
we're talking
till you
about
get
the
results.
lives of people. And when I say lives, I'm not only speaking of murder, but in terms of the safety. We're talking about the comfort and ease of living in your community. We go to certain communities that were so mellow and quiet, and like in the evenings, there is noise and carrying on up to 12, 1 o'clock. Young people doing what they want in communities. And the elder people who would have moved in thinking that they would have gone there to have some level of
peace, tranquility.
It's gone.
So there's a lot of work to be done. Mark.
Plenty work.
And do you believe that the government of the Bahamas now, all the ministers, all the members of parliament, that they are really soberly and seriously engaged in trying to turn it around? Or do you believe that this whole thing is like we there, we get the budget over with, we can get back to that when we get back to that, and they're not working in earnest to really bring about a kind of change around within the precincts of the ghettos?
We would hope. We would hope, but I can only say what we hear and what we say out there. We hope they ain't worked so hard in the campaign, and in them first couple of days leading up to winning, and the first few days after winning, that they so tired they need to take a big break.
This is the government now.
That's what I'm talking about.
No, I'm saying to them, you are the government now. You in the driver's seat. There's no break. You can't even hit brakes now.
Vacation? Yeah, okay. Wait for that.
Yeah.
Wait for that. You need to feel it.
325-023516. You agree with Mark? You disagree with Mark? What are your views? Call me, 325-023516, 325-024243, 325-0252 or 53. You can also text me or WhatsApp me at 376-9234. Hard copy, how are you?
Hi, good evening, Steve.
Hi there.
Listening to your conversation, and all I'm going to say is I'm sure the Bahamian people wish they voted for Mr. McCartney. Have a good evening.
For a better life.
McCartney said, vote for McCartney for a better life, and you'll have, what are some of the things he says? You'll have no more crime. You'll have telephone.
We can legislate, decriminalize marijuana.
We'll decriminalize marijuana. Yeah, we'll be smoking and getting very, very high.
Whatever.
I'll have to be
make it a business.
I'll have to make sure I be screening everybody who comes through the door to the studios, because they may come here so high we may not be talking sense. But he said that he's going to do a lot of things, and of course I hear what she's saying, and that's because people are now saying, "Boy, I would tell you so." You all turn your back on Brian, and you turn your back on Brian, and look at this. You all made us throw it off our lot with the Free National Women because you did not want to have a spoiler there. And now here it is that there are complaints coming in. People are talking on social media. People are talking on Facebook. People are talking all over the place. People are talking in clubs and bar rooms and on basketball courts. People are talking. And so, when I saw this thing that they had not been expressing themselves as much on the talk radio dials and stuff like that, I said, they got to get involved and try to help this government get to the right place. I did the same thing under the PLP government to say, get them going quick, fast, and hurry to put them on page, so to speak. Young people say, put you on page. Make sure you don't be doing foolishness and being funky and jivey, right? And when I saw the people were not saying anything much, I said, man, these people got to get involved. But what I may be misreading is that these people ain't saying nothing because they ain't got nothing good to say. And their whole thing is that there's great disappointment. Do you sense that there's great disappointment already, even though it's kind of short?
Absolutely. And before I get to that, I want to remind some folks that, remember, I was just off by 3 constituencies, and in the results, I had polled for a few DNAs to have gotten in. Well, that didn't happen. And again, polling is one thing, and how it happens is how it happens. So moving right along, the disappointment, Steve, is so palatable or palpable,
palpable, yeah.
So strong out there that, and it came so quickly, it's like almost a shock. And sometimes when people are in shock, even in the medical sense, things shut down, they don't know. So that's what it is. I'm sensing that there is I will call it a political shock to the general populace.
I see.
And they now, because see, on the one hand, they want to say, well, they just get in, let's give them time. Then the main thing is, hey, let's get working and what have you. But the disappointment factor was unexpected. So
there's a lot of disappointments, 1, 2, 3 in a row. No value added tax, no this, no that, no that. And then, it was a little bit too fast and too quick, but I suppose the government figured the best way to do is to deal with it and say, it can't happen. And people wanted to understand that. And but when they hear all this wastage on the backside of this thing, all this wastage that happened, they started to say, well, y'all better do something with that. Some people got to go to jail. And so the expectation then became something of anger that, we want to put our anger about these fellas who do all this foolishness. And then now they're finding out on top of that, but it ain't so. It looked like the fellas them didn't do that. And it depends on whose story you believe. So the people become confused about the whole thing. That they throw up their hands.
See, Steve,
they can't believe that this is happening.
The bringing on of the disappointment. Let's start from the grassroots aspect. We're not only speaking of what we have already heard pronounced and announced in the public domain. The disappointment factor started in earnest. Like I said, the simple thing of changing a phone number, the simple thing of not being reachable.
The total blackout.
Yes.
Yeah.
See, let's look at the progression, because 2 years from now or 2.5 years from now, midterm, they better be careful, because people are watching.
Let me just tell you a scenario before I get this call on the line. Like everyone who had the numbers of all these people before they got ministered numbers and all that. I don't know what the numbers are. No one gave me any, but that's life. But I'm trying to be able to reach people for contact on certain things that is happening in ministries. And I'm not one for the controversy as far as who take money and all that. I wanted to always go in a different direction. That's why you heard me say at the beginning of the new government, I say, look, don't get caught up in this. Let us try to get the governance part. In my mind, that's the right way to go. Try to get the governance, map out the plan, what you're going to do, and let's go with that. That's what I was thinking. And I say, if in fact you get a chance to look at some things that was considered to be malfeasance and misappropriation, then you can go and let the state deal with that through the proper organs of the state, the police, whoever else, and they'll investigate. Then they'll go report it to the Attorney General, and that will happen quietly. But they went and amplified all this wastage and stuff, and so the people are now upset about it. I say all that to say this. I tried to reach certain people, certain members of parliament, certain cabinet ministers who were appointed, and these are the regulars. If you look around and really search yourself, you can easily determine who have not been on this show yet, who were always on this show before the election.
Absolutely.
They have, and I can't reach not a single one. Now, let me tell you something. I'm being honest with you. I'm a little disappointed with that, but the point is this. I always had the telephone numbers of all of them, the cell numbers, to contact them at a moment's notice, because things happen and you want to have a guest on to explain some things and all that. Now they are in the seat of governance, and you can't reach them.
Steve.
And not only that, you can reach them on the same phone numbers that you always had, which when you deduce it and you look right at it, when you look over that chair, you would see certain members of the government right now every day, all the time. Some people say, boy, Steve, you have that fellow on too much. This one you have on. But we wanted to be fair with everyone so that they can get a chance to express themselves. Now, it's not unreasonable that they could at least take a call on their numbers and say, boy, my hand's tied, such and such.
Get back to
come to you. Nothing. You need to see this. So if it happened to the talk show host on hard copy, I know it happened with the regular people out there.
And it's not
so that's why
to get anything from them.
No.
It was a matter of
you're calling them to be a part of the conversation.
And so offer congratulations. Steve, it was so early that you didn't have contact to even offer congratulations to them.
They denied you all
Man,
that.
for
My
goodness
Lord.
sake, man. They better be careful.
Yeah.
That's all I'm
It is.
saying.
It is.
And it's sad.
You know, and let me tell you, let me give Minnis some credit. Minnis told these men, my friends, you are to be in contact with your constituents, and you are not to turn your telephones off. You are to be in contact with them, and they must be able to reach you. You must be accessible. And let me tell you something. Plenty of them then get riled because they have not been checking. And the prime minister, the man in charge, has said that to them without any kind of misunderstanding. They hear him loud and clear. But still, they can't return no calls to anybody, not even to news people, not even to media. It's almost as if there's a quiet thing that says, hey, black out the media. Don't have nothing to say to them.
Well, they better fix that. I'm no journalist. I don't claim to be or anything, but I know a little bit about that. And they need to reboot and start again, starting from the wonderful, professional Mr. Newbold. Now, again, this is not peace speaking. This is Mark Lester Store. And I'm saying, reboot that and get that started again. Excellent idea. You see, listen, man, we weren't but your good ideas, per se,
effective.
Because we want effective. Everybody got good ideas. Plenty of good ideas out there. We want, when you are allowed to bring your ideas to the fore, you effect the change that you say you will and bring about the productivity that you can. So reboot that, start again. Thank you.
You think that idea should be rebooted and start again?
Yes, because it's an excellent idea. It can work. The people need to hear information. The people need ready, proper information, especially to inform and even steer particular things in these constituencies. Information, knowledge is power. If proper knowledge must be greater power then. Okay, so no one more professional. You know, Mr. Newbold. You know,
consummate professional.
Man, consummate. So let's reboot that and start it again. Get that going properly.
Hard copy. How are you?
Good afternoon, Mr. McKinney.
Hey, how you doing?
Monkey Diamond here.
Hey, Monkey.
Mark went on target today, eh?
Mark is too hot for me to handle today. I gotta see if I can find my reins and put him in.
McKinney, I got a word from my government. I would ask my government haste and forthwith to come out of the holes.
Absolutely.
Because you run in the hole, but I want to say to my government again, the tails are out. Don't be like the rat running the hole and you leave your tail out.
Ain't long now.
And I repeat, my government, come out of the hole. Thank you.
Wow. I ain't like the sound of that.
And
that's Monkey Tamron.
That's Monkey Tamron.
Monkey Tamron.
You know who that is?
I know what you mean if I know who that is. People don't know who that is, but those all and sundry who know, they know what that means.
And those folks feel it deeply. And see, you can't say these PLP apologists and the like who just want to make the Minnis administration look bad. We are talking about persons who are solid supporters of this government, even and collectively with the persons who were disenchanted with the PLP and the like, okay, who had reason to be disenchanted with the former administration. But these are persons who would have had great expectations for the present administration and who they ain't looking for no tit for tat per se. They ain't looking for no revenge. They are just looking for the country to be better, to be built. Listen, man. Wait, Steve, I could go down the list, I could start from education, way in to that fluff and sweet talk. We want to see some things happen soon, right away, relative to education and how it's going to bring certain reforms to our education system, beginning from that primary school level, that preschool level that Mr. Lloyd spoke about. We're talking about the social services, where people need to be helped. The right set of people I'm talking about. I won't throw some names out there, but I'm talking about the right, correct people being assisted. And not only assisted.
That was a funny situation, and that needs a lot of attention. I think you got a couple of good people over there, and I'm praying and hoping that both of them, Lanisha Rule and Brother Ron Miller, will get it together, because that's a gray area. I'll tell you this: there are people. You said it earlier. There are people who are supposed to be served, and they're not even on the list because of all kinds of other things that were happening. Not that Melanie did anything skullduggery, but the system itself. You got to overhaul that so the right people can get served. There are people who are hungry and waiting.
But Steve,
these are urgent matters. They can't wait.
We are of the belief. There's a grouping of us who are of the belief, the firm belief, that if proper reform come to the social services department, many of the persons who are being assisted in the way they're being assisted can be weaned off social services.
Understood.
Because it's going to tie into everything if we go down the economy, jobs, and the like. We're talking about sustained development and uplifting of a people, of communities, where there will be no rows and fights around social services. If they want call and challenge, go ahead. Call. But I'm talking about the system, proper person. Some of y'all need to go home anyhow. Let me just say it. Some of y'all, you better get your concern back where y'all really cared about helping and doing the right thing for people. Get it back. Now, I could call some names of the good ones, and I can mention the name of some of y'all who just collecting a paycheck.
But it has to be overhauled.
It needs to be fixed. So we could go right down the list. And again, I mentioned national security, crime, and we want to see the country built.
The area that you forgot, that you didn't mention yet, I'm saying, is that of immigration. This is a serious area because some people are waiting, and I keep asking the question of my Minister of Immigration, Mr. Brent Simonet, whether or not we have a list of all the, since the claim was made by him that there was 115,000 work permits granted for the last 5 years. I want to know what the numbers are looking like on his desk right now or in his ministry of those people waiting to get sorted out. And that's a serious thing, because that directly links to a job market that's already decimated to the point where Bahamians can't get no jobs because the fellas I'm coming here with on work permit and they working doing menial jobs and doing jobs, domestic jobs that Bahamians are certainly qualified to do.
We scared of that term sorted out in the ghetto. We're afraid of it because we found out that only certain people and certain cliques get sorted out while the rest of us suffer. Well, Mr. Simonet, see, I didn't want to go to immigration because there's still a couple of things we're looking at, right? But let me show you, man. Steve, the reality of immigration has gotten, illegal immigration and legal immigration has gotten so bad. One time, we only had to worry about them coming in a certain way and repatriate. This and that. But now, the permeation and the prevalence of everybody come in and getting jobs
from every angle and every nationality.
When I say everybody, I mean everybody. Some nationalities now would be, they must be come from space, from outer space. Everybody's coming, and they are the only ones that seem getting jobs, from the least of jobs to the greatest.
My Lord. Let me take some calls. Hard Copy, how are you? Hard Copy, you there? Are you there, Hard Copy? Okay, let me go here. How you doing today? Welcome to Hard Copy.
Hey, good evening, Mr. McGinney.
Peace and love. What's going on?
Yeah, great, man. Reconciling. Good evening, Mr. Storr.
What do you say, my brother? All is well?
All is good, man.
Good.
You sound like a inner city man like myself.
Absolutely.
And I am, basically on the same run, so to speak, of what you're talking about, because I was, talking about the same thing. Number one, when you campaign on a promise to help the small man, it's the people's time, and you come in and present a budget that does not include the people who we thought you were talking about, the innocent, the small people who really got you in office, instead of the usual special interests. It put a big question in your mind. See, the minute you go off course, that's the minute I suspect that you were not telling me the truth.
Correct.
You understand what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And according to what's going on now, what I am seeing, like you talk about the phone number, I see one of them fellas, one of the gentlemen who, the new ministers, had his number post on Facebook. I said, boy, you mean business night. He posted on Facebook. Reach him. When I try to reach that number, all I get is boop, boop, boop. Okay, like that disconnected.
Absolutely.
So they changed their phone number.
Let me try one of my friends' phone numbers, see if this can ring.
You know, Mr. McKinney, let me say that. I'm serious with this. What is happening now, and it's too early in the game for this, to the, disadvantage of the F&M administration. As bad as the PLP, we were saying the PLP was, and they did a lot of stuff, they're giving the PLP credibility and legitimacy.
Correct.
You believe that?
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, in some quarters they are, and the truth of the matter is, what they got to balance out in their reasoning is that the level of hurt. If you remember on past shows, I would have said the level of hurt that we felt under the past administration.
Yeah.
The level of mistrust, the level of what we felt was so great.
But sorry, let me finish this and I get back to you. Sorry about that. But
go ahead.
The thing is, Mr. Storr, I believe I'm an inner city man. I believe in the people. I am from the people. I am for the people. The corruption in our system, is endemic and is systemic. Except you change it, the whole atmosphere in the system, the whole framework facilitates corruption, no matter who you are or who government you say you are. It has to be changed.
For sure.
So all I'm saying is that the Prime Minister, and this new administration, I am not feeling you, my brother. On the campaign, it was good because there's a lot of dancing, and I don't hardly go to campaigns, and I don't go to drink people, so don't come to me, grill and chill and all that kind of thing, and telling me that's payback. Man, I don't want that. I want to live a better life in my country. I want some land. I want the benefit. I don't want to ask you for nothing. I want you to facilitate the way that I can make it easy for me to get to earn something, to earn a better way of life.
Correct.
And that's what I'm talking about. I don't want no grill and chill. Take that and push that somewhere else. So what I'm saying...
I hear you.
What did I say, Steve?
I say I hear you. I hear you.
So I am saying to the government, you tell me you can repeal what, and I tell you I ain't going to let this rest. You lie to the people. Because you come out in the thing and give people who can pay $12 a pound for salmon and buy airplane part. And the people you was talking about is the rich people and the special interests. You kick the poor people like me to the curb and you're going to pay. Have a good day.
Thank you.
A lot of people are not so happy. I told you. I checked the monitor. I said, you know something? We are checking the climate. We are checking the heat out there, the heat index. The misery index has shot up the window. People are stressed on top of all the bills that they've got. And it's because a lot of people put their all into the past election, hoping that there's going to be, I don't think people are looking for no $10 from nobody. No, let's get this straight. I think what people are looking for is that there's a definite plan of action and there's some definite caveats that we have as priority matters that the people want to see be implemented or get the idea of the governance of it going. The people might indulge in all this talk about who teeth this and all that. That's fine. But outside of the fact that they don't believe that there's going to be no prosecution, they figure that that's wasting time. And they want to hear the government articulate things that can benefit them. That's all that's happening.
Steve, let me speak something real. This may be a little harsh but it's truth. And it's reality as to what happens in the things I deal with. I'm faced with.
Mm-hmm.
There's some young women who the area knows they trade. And I'm trying to be as verbally diplomatic as possible. They ain't working. They ain't had no job for a little while. They have children to take care of. So they do their trade. And in speaking to these young women, and some not so young, their hope is that while it may be hard and they're in this misery cycle that they're in, their hope is that systems would change and become so that their children won't have to go through what they're going through. And I'm sure people out there understand what I'm saying.
Yeah.
They
unspeakable things.
They are hopeful. And that is what they presented to many of these present MPs who came around. Because you'd think some of that trading only took place in the ghetto. But the reality of it, and see, talk to Dr. Allen and some other folks who face this on a daily basis in terms of who they have to counsel and try to bring help to and relief to. Some very, as they used to say, dicty, sophisticated looking females out there who are trading. But their hope is that things will change so that if it doesn't catch them, it will catch their children so that they can be better. And that's what we're looking for.
Hot copy, how you doing? Hi there. Call before the break. Okay, I'm going to go to the break in a minute, but let me just, we're going to be in overtime. There's no question about it. I see it's a couple of minutes before the hour. I started to read a couple of these text messages, and I have a lot of them today. This person says, reconciler, all I got is a piece of salmon and soy sauce. Laugh out loud. So you want some?
That's right.
This other person says, doctor, the country is sick. Laugh my butt off. This is what this they're mocking. This is the mock now. This person says, Grammy say the first impression is a lasting impression. This person says, special note now, the PLP only now is saying that the FNM was lying after what Mr. Bettel said. They have something to go on, is what this person is saying. And then it says, hey, Mr. Storr, congrats. But the PM minister said, what part of the memo you didn't understand? The PLP, FNM, same script, different cast. What you dealing with? Is what that fella said. Anyway, let me read some more of these text messages. It says, Steve, the foreigners who have shops downtown, so bigoty, says this person, and bold in our country. They put cones in the public parking so that they can park every time. They leave and come back, and I move them every time, but they still getting away with it. What this person says. These are the small man little things.
Exactly.
Where's the law? All them policemen on Bay Street and all that kind of stuff.
On the corner.
Yeah, anyway, this one says this. Good evening. Says, good evening, Mr. McKinney. I agree with your guess. However, I have decided to give them a little time. I personally feel that Carl Bettel is not aggressive enough for the job. The PLP did waste our money and burn it. Give it away to those whomsoever they wish. The FNM always slow to help individuals. Say the FNM always slow to help individuals. We can contact Centerville. The only contact is by WhatsApp. So no Wi-Fi. You can't hear from him. He didn't give much during the campaign. He owes us big time. We delivered Centerville from the PLP. That's what this person says. And I got a bunch of text messages today.
Centerville was one of the first to go.
This person says, Mark is the truth. Nothing but the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Is what this person says, meaning you, Mark. This person says the biggest problem in trying to prosecute malfeasance and embezzlement or confiscation of property and belonging is there are no legislation on the books to prosecute. So going forward, an anti-corruption malfeasance bill should be passed immediately. See, this is the real crux of the matter. We're talking about an anti-corruption bill. There's been no legislation being tabled yet to make sure that the law has teeth to go behind and deal with these.
Yeah, we understand the legal ramifications of how tough that is.
Any government contract over $50,000 should have been presented to cabinet for approval. Countless contracts and payments were issued without cabinet approval. This proves criminal intent. And they always said that ministers could go up to a limit of about $50,000 without going to. But, you know, all of these things, if it's not properly constructed, if it's not properly weighed out, should get the approval. These are lean times in this country. We wasted money in the face of what Standard & Poor's was saying to us, in the face of what Moody's was saying to us, and in the face of the national debt growing to about $8 billion, and the debt ratio to GDP climbing a steady 80%. We had to have been crazy to be doing some of these things that we did in the past administration, and that's why
maybe I should get some of that $9,000 that was given to people to call talk show.
They had people doing that. Yeah, man. My Lord. This person say Carl Bethel was a disappointment. I would have appointed Dame June Sawyer. Simonet should not have been appointed. Wells knows nothing about agriculture, but he shouldn't be, and he shouldn't be there. I would have put Pintard. He has a degree in agriculture. This is what people are saying. I mean, this is the GNN. This is the Ghetto News Network. The Ghetto News Network is like CNN. When you hear them saying something, if it ain't true, it ain't far from the truth. And this person says, I want PM to say our first priority is jobs. Our second priority is to fix downtown, the national health insurance culture and tourists. They need to be specific about what they will do and start now. See, this is what the trouble is. So a lot of people get it wrong that you putting too much pressure on them, give them a chance. People are trying to set the tone for the government so they can get on the right thing of what they're supposed to be doing.
Absolutely.
And so that's what it is. People are basically believing that they need to help to shape where they want to go. As I normally say, if you're going to get on the bus when the bus stop at the bus stop, and you ride the whole way and on the route, and you say, go through here, go through there. You don't let the bus driver dictate to you where he can stop and let you off. You got the direct traffic on them bus. This is the bus of the country, the government machinery, the bus going to fix the whole thing for everybody. And there are people who got ideas who say, go through here. No, turn through that corner there, because they're trying to navigate the right way that we can do things. And you've got to be listening. That's just the way it is. This person says, Steve, where we march is. Oh, now I forget. They get straight. That's what this person says.
Straight.
So they even making sport of what's his name? Renard. I can't remember now. But you know what I mean. He's a senator now.
Yeah, absolutely.
And of course, people are asking what happened to John Bostwick. I don't know. I haven't heard from John myself. This person says, Steve, did the government expose the names of those MPs that did not disclose today? Today was the deadline, yes, but we won't hear anything about that right now. Everybody got their own thing what they're dealing with. But you know, we'll see.
Mr. McKinney, boy. I'll take not issue, but I'll remind one of the texters that more than wanting to hear about jobs and the like in the ghetto, I want to remind them that ghetto folks, they ain't only looking for jobs. One of the real things that were being pressed and really, really articulated in the ghetto was entrepreneurial opportunities.
People want ownership, man. They want to own their own
we
things.
ain't just want no 9 to 5, as we say, in the ghetto.
You know, I think Minnis just needs to get on his game about this whole thing about the economic
relief that he was promising,
the zones that he needs to do that, because you know I was at the barbershop yesterday and there were people who were saying, you all then straight. So I said, what are you talking about, this gentleman? He said, and you all then got your Wi-Fi. He said, he means Wi-Fi. Yeah. He said, you got your Wi-Fi. So I say, well, what that's supposed to mean? He said, well, y'all then straight now you can get your E5 and you can do what you feel. See, and they making joke of it. The Bahamian people do not want to be laughed at in these circumstances. What do you do with Wi-Fi when in fact you ain't got no money to buy anything to eat? You can't pay your light bill. You still in the outside toilet. I saw Cable Bahamas or somebody had a story on talking about all this thing about outside toilets and the way people are living. This is nothing new. We know, but we've got to now get to the crux of the matter and bring some relief to these people.
Absolutely.
And you see, you may say, man, you're all taking it too hard on them. Who else is going to be the purveyors of this kind of thing and get the job done? See, we then get bitten. Once bitten, twice shy. The point is this: the PLP did some stuff to these people they ain't gonna never forget, and they ain't gonna never allow nobody else to try that. That's what is happening right now, you know.
That's what I was alluding to when I was talking about the misery index was so great under the PLP.
Yeah,
that hurt level was so devastating. That is why I'm saying the present administration need to balance that out to understand that because the hurt level was so great, the misery index was so great, there is no letting up by the people who has been hurt so much. We do not want to believe, see, or even think that we will go through any more hurts.
The people can't take it.
We can't take it.
People can't take
and guess what? With that being, they will not be taking it. Trust me, they better be careful. You see?
Let me read the text. Good afternoon, Steve. The F&M brought the legislation before they got the proof that something was criminal. Something was happening criminally. Now, people say they need more time before they could find out what was going on. But why didn't they bring the allegations with no proof? You can't put the cart before the horse is what this person is saying.
Okay.
See, there's a lot of stuff that the general public didn't expect to happen from this group of fellas. These are smart fellas now. Let's be real.
Yeah,
this ain't no dumb crew of fellas. This some good, brilliant fellas.
Absolutely.
But I had people tell me, Mark, unfortunately, they tell me, Steve, you all put a lot of stake in these fellas, but they're not the ones. They are not the ones, they're not the ones who Miles was talking about. I say, wait a second, what you mean? We got fresh new people we've never seen before. He says, yeah, but you know, there's also a part that says they will have the Spirit of God upon them and they will be doing things that will blow your mind. Well, the truth be told, our minds have not been blown yet. Or we've been hearing about all the people who move money here and move money there, but there's nothing else behind that will say to us that, but we are going to now forward this way and we're going to do these things to get this country moving. That's what people want to hear.
Absolutely.
I believe. This person says, Steve, I just heard that the Minister of Finance, who already gave himself a tax break on TV, saying he hoped some agreement that the past government had with some developments would continue, but he ain't saying a word. What's this government plans are for the government? The fellow say he's not saying a word about what the government plans are.
Right.
See, and that's what it is. You see, we start to chase rainbows and waterfalls because we got sidetracked. There's nothing wrong with being sidetracked and distracted, you know. That happens. But you got to know that you've been sidetracked and distracted.
And
you need to pull yourself back in and start again.
Absolutely.
Get it moving again. Because that's what is happening here. This thing about going behind these things, and the PLP may very well love this. This may be the thing to wreck the F&M, that they running behind waterfalls and rainbows and can't get to the end of it.
Group know how to manipulate. Let's be real. They would know how to manipulate things of this nature to bring some serious licks to the F&M. But the truth of the matter is, man, no honeymoon, no time to get it together. It's time to work. We're looking for results in every ministry, in every constituency. Those of you who knew how you pushed yourself and tried to ingrain and even in some cases ingratiate yourself on us in these constituencies, you better get to work. Get to work, because the social fabric of this nation still needs to be mended. and reinforced.
I tell you, boy, this is quite interesting. This person says we have to check Brent Simonet pushing this permanent residency for the rich. These people don't help our country. All they come for is tax breaks.
Yeah.
They make more expenses for the Bahamian people to live.
They
make it more expensive for the Bahamian people to live in the Bahamas.
That's reality.
See,
Exactly.
People are, listen here, this group of Bahamians, they are on top of this thing, man. I've been thinking that they ain't on page with these people are on page. I just look at these text messages and some of them scare me because they are knowledgeable about what's going on. It's amazing. And here it is now that they kind of, I suppose they like the fact that you're here because they feel empowered that somebody feels the same thing that we feel.
We'll bring it to the fore, Steve. I just come off an island, small little island. It's a key. Went to do some work. And mentioning with these foreign persons. The key and Lisobe. And only one, there's this road that divides particular properties. On the north, or I forget what side, the local side, let's put it that way. Get a piece of property for $6,000, $6,000, $7,000, maybe 10. And on the next side, just one road, you know, and it ain't no big, wide, double, triple, quadruple lane road. It's just a single road. One road. And the local side, up to $10,000 maybe for property, maybe, and I'm pushing it to 10. But when you go across the street, 100,000.
That's the water side.
Yeah, the water, up to 200,000. And still that foolishness going on in our country where we are being displaced. Still. Yeah. You see, so Mr. Simonet better get it. We aim for that special interest, those who can afford a getaway type thing anymore.
Well, you're hearing it all today, folks, right here on Hard Copy. And this is the man from over the hill who a lot of people don't understand that he is a very, very peculiar man these days. The small man's voice wants to be heard. They want to see action. They don't even want to beat up their gum talking about these things and putting out ideas that nobody's paying attention to and pretending to be intelligent about certain things because that's the expectation. They want action. And perhaps what is needed is an action group within the Free National Movement. There used to be an action group one time that made things happen. Carl Belford, I believe, was a part of the action group.
But they
see the point is that they
Carl
know.
Came. I remember when those young men came.
Dion and Carl and all that.
Yes, Tommy and all them, right? You know, I was of a different persuasion at the time, but I knew when they came. And the newness that they were trying to bring right then.
Bobby Marshall and Chess Wood and all these fellas.
And their mantra, a lot of their mantra came from the late successor.
Yes, sir.
And others who had the welfare and well-being of this country at heart. And I'll go further to say, even down to a young man who Mr. Robinson, who came in initially as an independent, but was brought into the fold. His ideas and his dreams for Bain and Grantstown. His action.
Action.
That was starting to permeate. And yet, right now, shortly thereafter, it seems to be waning, but it better stop.
Yeah, this is Travis Robinson.
Great young man.
Great potential too.
Potential. I mean, they better.
There's a lot of stuff that's happening. You know, I believe that Menace is on top of it. Let me say that. I believe that he's on top of it. I believe he's got to show more grit, and I believe he's got to show more of his skills as the leader who knows exactly what he wants and to articulate exactly what he wants. And once he does that, and I believe he'll bring kind of like a kind of covering and a smoothness about transitioning to get into the real governance.
Yeah, but it ain't gonna start, Mr. McKinney. I can throw it out now. It ain't gonna start, and it ain't gonna happen in the manner in which he demonstrated when he spoke to those reporters.
Oh man,
it ain't gonna happen that way. That is not the Hubert Alexander Minnis that I know. I
Yeah,
know
he was
I
out
know-
of character.
Yeah,
He was
exactly.
perhaps being tough and like he couldn't care less.
It-
But if that's Hubert Ingram's style, even Hubert Ingram did it in a different
Still had
way.
a way to mellow things
He had a
off, yes.
different way. He would have said, "You want to ask a question? What question you want to ask?" And then the ladies would ask the question. Say, "Okay, my dear." He would have been more gentle. And this thing about being kind of like just dismissive. And that was a bad sound bite that
ain't
came
gonna work.
across.
That's not gonna
That was a bad sound bite. I am hoping that Menace will listen to his press secretary and all the others who will say
The
to
ones who
him,
talk
"Chief,
in
we
sense.
got your message to the heart. Stay away from that kind of thing. Try to be more cordial. Try to be more embracing with the. These are young journalists too, you know. And
they exactly. You look at
all of
them,
this is
they-
that they just trying to do their job.
They-
They get sent on an
Thank you.
assignment. Man, fight. They had to say, "Look here, you need to find out. Don't come back here no story unless you find out if this man had a meeting with Sarkis." And see, you can't get ticked off with that because you either had a meeting with him or you didn't. You could either say, "No, I didn't have a meeting with Sarkis," or you could say, "Well, listen, that's not up for discussion. I did meet with Sarkis at a point, but I cannot give you the
reveal
details of
what's-
that because that was a meeting that has nothing to do with anything much except, it's in confidence. This is what he could have found all kinds
Many
of ways
ways.
to say that. But sometimes it's fellas like us who don't know nothing, even though they come to you when they need to have the right information. We sometimes all of a sudden, listen, I saw a member of parliament who used to be the member of parliament for Bay Down. F&M, member of parliament for Bay Down. And he used to be the McDonald's every morning back then, the kitchen cabinet days. And he didn't know nothing. He didn't know when water was boiled.
That's right.
But when he got elected, and that sweep that time in 1992, and he got elected to power, he knew everything. You couldn't tell him nothing. And there were several of them like that. Of course, they all were just one time fellas and they were off the scene. But the point what I'm making is this: sometimes these fellas, they can't hear from people like me who would have been talking about these things, leading them in the direction on all these things. And showing them that this is what you need to be dealing with by just talking on the radio.
Correct.
Right? All of a sudden, okay, we got that. Shut up. We ain't interested in that. But the country is still lagging behind. I've been talking about immigration, the economy, and crime.
Absolutely.
They don't want to pay attention to it.
Absolutely.
Because of other interests. That's all that is. Don't come. Brent Simonet tried something very funky the other day, Mark. He went and made a statement that if you gleaned from it properly, you'll see that he said, look here, you all need to be talking about these citizenship for these Haitians and Jamaicans who, you all need to
leave the rich people alone. That's what he's
debate that vigorously. I want to hear a public outcry. That's what he said. I want to hear people talk about it. I said, my goodness, what we want to hear from Mr. Simonet really is what's happening with those permanent residency things. What's happening with those work permits? How many do you have now before you? You talk about what them fellas them did, 115,000 in the last 5 years. What are you looking at now?
Here's something that was just said recently. If you got to come here as a foreign person to work and the like, bring business, whatever, but your maid got to speak a particular language and to your children, we don't need you here. Take your blasted money, go somewhere else. Because we have sufficient young women here who could clean your doggone house and your clothes.
See, that's the kind of
and
language
speak properly to your
that's
children.
the kind of language that we are supposed to be saying. It's not being espoused. We're not saying it. We're playing around it. Do you realize how many people, most of them same work permits you see there, they for them Peruvian maids and all these people.
Just to hear Spanish around the children.
And not only that, the fellas who doing the gardening, they all
absolutely.
We got, you know how long Bahamians been doing gardening and butlering and all that kind of stuff, and suddenly we have no one who do that. That cannot be right. It's a lie, and it's because those who are in the elite who want to have these kinds of things, they perpetrate this lie, and they say Bahamians don't know how to keep their mouth shut. They talk people business. They move things.
They
all kind of
started,
stuff.
but it's stealing part. That
If
used to be troubling
somebody
for-
steal, then lock them up.
Yes,
no matter who they are.
But how all this?
But you see, you can't. The government can't use it as a crutch to say as a result of these things, we can't give nobody. We can't allow Bahamians. We have to give that to a Peruvian or to Guatemalan or to Filipino. Look here, Mark. Let me tell you, I have nothing against anybody in this country because, you know, I think that we are not xenophobic. I think we want to invite as many as we, but we've got to be realistic and pragmatic. We cannot be in a position where our people are not working, being displaced and disenfranchised, and they're doing all kind of unspeakable things as females and unspeakable things as male to make a dollar. That cannot be happening. Exactly. We would have been in gross error of the Bahamian people and this economy.
And that is what we speak of in the ghetto.
Hard copy, how are you?
Yes, good day, Steve. How you doing?
Very good, thanks.
Mr. Yegas, good afternoon.
Good day.
I just wanted to say, I am of the view that it looks like all those it's the people's time persons have somehow disappeared in the fray now. They ain't saying that no more because everything that was portrayed before the elections and the campaign now seem to don't be that true anymore.
Yeah.
And what I see coming is
seem to be discolored
happening election period after election period is that the Bahamas is just going to be mad with the FNM now, and then we can vote the FNM out and vote another party in, and then 5 years and like our country ain't going nowhere.
This will be 25 years of voting people out and voting people back in.
Yeah, we've been doing this.
Yeah.
I mean, it's ridiculous because our country isn't going.
Do you know, my friend, young man, let me tell you something. In Jamaica, the same thing was happening between Norman Manley and Siega. And it happened randomly, just like how it's happening here. And do you know what? They eventually became destabilized because people decide that ain't no stable place. One minute the government in, the next minute the government out. That ain't no stable place. You have to be careful with your investment. Here we are with a situation now where we have junk bond status on the books for the Bahamas for investors who want to come here and bring foreign direct investment. They are kind of iffy now because the whole thing is on number one, the government don't seem to be stabilized to the point where, you know, while we'll say that we are parliamentary democracy and be stable, but changing from one to the next is a serious thing. And every time we do that, it's been 20 years of doing that now. It makes people say, I wonder if this is a real good place to go. So is it any wonder to you right now as a young person that people have not been over the bar waiting to come in here to bring some money to us? You see what our economy is right now? We are in the doldrums.
Yeah, sir. It's not a wonder to me. I mean, it's evident. You could see it.
Okay. Excuse me.
Going nowhere. And what the FNM has to realize is the people didn't vote the FNM in.
Yeah.
Voted the PLP.
Well,
that's what they did.
Let me ask you something, sir. But first, how you voted in the last election?
Yes, sir.
How old are you, if I may ask?
I'm 40.
Okay, young man.
Yes, sir.
Do you have any like stick to the rib, all ride or die allegiance to any political party?
I did. That has since been.
That didn't wash over, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now let me show you where I'm going with this. And I'm happy that you call, and this would lend credence to what I'm saying is happening in the ghetto and in the country at large. You realize, and you tell me if I'm wrong, you have come to the realization that it is time to build a country and a people.
Yes, sir.
Okay? It ain't about no color. It ain't about no party. We want to build a country. You want to have something to be able to leave for your children and your children's children.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So buddy, I appreciate what you're saying, right? And I would encourage you to stay strong, stay focused, go out there, spread the word, and try to keep encouraging your circle, people who you come in contact with, to keep this government, because it ain't about no FNM, PLP, or whatever. We are trying to sustain change or bring change that is sustainable to build a country. So I'm encouraging you. I appreciate hearing your voice at this time to show that It ain't just about voting this one out and in, but we are trying to build a country. Appreciate you calling.
All the best now. Great. We thank you very much. Okay. Whoa, time is gone. Listen, how you doing? Hard copy. I'm listening. Hard copy, you on with me? All right. Nobody's there. So listen, this has been kind of interesting, but it's a good way of ventilating. I mean, today we have been able to say some things and talk about some things, and people have called and expressed some things on the show. Some have called, some have actually text and WhatsApp and all that, and they're saying, we hear everything. We know that perhaps some people are saying give them a more chance, but I'm not hearing that too much now. I'm hearing that there's the urgency of now.
Get it done.
We got to have a plan. If there's no plan, you plan to fail. Absolutely. Where there's no plan, you obviously planning to fail. So if minutes and those are listening today, or whoever are monitoring these shows to hear what is happening, please take away from it that there are people who are reasonably upset and disappointed because of one thing. The government seems to be unfocused on exactly at least 5 or 6 things that they want to do right away. And I believe if you take that message back and spread that message within the body politic of the governing party at this time, they may get an appreciation that the people are also saying, you can't appear to be going on no summer holiday, because ain't no summer holiday for we. Yeah. We ain't even got 50 cents to go to Andres. See, you got to see that. And then you got to look at it and say, in the ghetto, the misery index is so high now that people getting agitated. The natives are restless. Absolutely. You see, these are things that the government has to be very cognizant of all the time. And the other thing that you need to glean from this today and take back to those who are in authority is that they want to hear even more from Dr. Hubert Minnis, the Prime Minister of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. He has to put his complexion, he has to put his mood on this country, and he's got to do it quick, fast, and hurry before some other fellas come back, them the nebulous people who just get voted out, come back and try to dominate these airwaves. And not only that, have persuasion and sway over these people. If he don't see that, then he can't see. See, this is a real thing. Don't forget, Loretta Butler and them did some stuff on his watch.
Correct.
See, I'm a realist.
The Daigle will be.
Now, let me tell you something. I like Dr. Minnis. There's no question about it. I care for him. I like him. I think that he's a great guy. I really think that he's a nice, compassionate individual. But sometimes you could lose your balance, because when you remember that right under his nose, he was removed as opposition leader.
That's right.
I have got to be concerned as a well-informed Bahamian and talk show host. And believe me when I say well-informed. I don't talk everything I know, but I'm well-informed. I know what's happening.
You're right.
And I'll tell you, if he didn't know what was happening then, and that was a surprise to him,
the Tigers are long.
You don't know what other surprises are in the mix. Now, you may say, Steve, stop heresy. No, let me tell you something. This is politics, my friend. And in Politics 101, you protect your backside.
At all times.
You don't play no game with that. You protect your backside and make sure your tail ain't out, like Monkey Cameron say. Make sure your tail ain't hanging out the hole, because that's where you'll get swiped right down. And when you don't protect your backside, the fellas them who chum with you playing this game, my friend, they will deal with you and you will be doggedly dealt with. That's a serious thing. This is politics. That's how it works. And if you ain't have no stomach for it, then I don't have the stomach for it. That's why I ain't getting involved. But if you ain't got no stomach for this, the kind of cut and thrust, the kind of cloak and dagger, the kind of jigging, the kind of stabbing, if you ain't got it for that in this game in the Bahamas, that's how we play it. We are dirty people. That's how we play it. We don't have no regard for how we will do what we have to do. And you know that. You better be on top of your game. And you better surround yourself with people who mean you well. And not only that, people who will tell you, Chief,
right.
What you doing? Boy, you're naked like Christy. Look here, the emperor ain't got no clothes on. You got to hear them when they say that. And that's the kind of people you want around you. You want pit bulls around you. You want to make sure that they telling you, Chief, get that straight. You look bad. You need to take a rest. You need to do this. You need to do that. You got to do. Look here, if you don't do it, you will see the end result of the backside of that door when you walk out. That's how it works. And people say next and better. That's what we used to say on the prairie when we play basketball. When we then dominate you and dunk one off your head, we say next and better. That's what will happen. We don't want to hear that next and better. Mark, what do you think?
I am in full agreement, Mr. McKinney. That's where we're at as a people. And I think, you know, still, again, with all that being said, still being hopeful, as our good panelist, Dr. Jackson would say, God is in charge.
We'll have to wait and see.
And we got to wait and see. We're hopeful. We're hopeful. We're optimistic because, see, again, the misery index was so high and the hurt was so harsh that we cannot see and believe that it's going to be worse.
Listen to this. This is my final comment before we go today. Romeo Ferreira, or Romy, that's what they call him, okay? He has to take the lead right now. He and Dwayne Sands, they need to pivot and go deal with the dump. The dump is now in a position of serious concern for people who are getting all kind of things on their skin. That's a real worthwhile effort to go and deal with. Make sure you deal with it. Deal with that and bring these health issues to the light and deal with real things that people are impacted by. Marvin Dames can look into try to get a whole czar going on crime and that kind of get it going. People want to see results. And of course, when it comes to things like education, I think Jeff is pretty much on top of this education thing because he's been doing some things and he's already starting certain programs. That's good. And then when you look at Dwayne, and of course I already spoke with him, but when you look at some other areas, Mr. Simonet talks a good talk, and he's a very well-experienced man. He's a former deputy prime minister. But Mr. Simonet has to spread it all around and take a balanced approach, in my view, to look at all aspects of this immigration, legal and illegal. And he's got to bring corrective steps. He cannot just come and tell me what the PLP did with 115,000 work permits. I want to hear the whole thing. What you got planned there, what's in front of you now, what are you about to approve?
Correct.
And you've got to deal with those things like walking and chewing gum at the same time.
That's true on Mr. Diaglo too, because
Diaglo, he's a great savvy businessman, and I believe that he will do well in tourism. But he also has tourism, Bahamas Air, and aviation. Aviation is the biggest thing about all of those now. Even though tourism is 60% of our economy, aviation now has the potential of becoming the #1 thing if we can get that air traffic thing sorted out, if we can get that airspace, not air traffic, airspace, of called the FIR. We have got to get that sorted out, and we've got to pursue that with all of our might because there's billions and billions of dollars in the air waiting for us to collect. We've got to do it. We've got to have the resolve to do it.
Relative to all that.
3 tough ministries he has, you know.
And
he's got to find a way to make Bahamas Air solvent, and then he's also got to find a way that's impossible, I believe, but to make Bahamas Air travel to these different destinations and bring airlift here, he's got to make sure that happens. He's got to make sure tourism continues to hold its lead if they have an edge in this particular market because of Cuba and all the other places that are happening here. It's a big job. The Aguilar is going to need a lot of help from a lot of people, and there are people who are willing to help because they're experts who know what can happen in this business. We can't fail. We can't fail. We've got to try harder. We can't fail. Failure is not an option.
In the financial area, also to be mindful, because we know in the ghetto, relative to this Chongborden status that we find ourselves in, it doesn't attract sometimes, or most of the times, the most upright investors. Let's put it this way.
The people come with a song and a dance. That's what Oscar Johnson
That's
used to
what
say.
I'm saying.
All kind of jive time people coming, but they got
careful.
briefcases and they only got one peanut butter and
Thank
jam
you.
sandwich.
So let's be on our P's and Q's. Let's be sharp. because I don't want to have another cycle of the country being sold out to unscrupulous persons coming about investment.
That's right. And don't grab for the first thing.
The first things.
Let me tell you a little joke before we go. We're going right now. When the Minister of Tourism was first elected in 2002, okay, you know what happened? Man, a fella came in town with this briefcase. And he came in town, and I have pictures to prove this.
Beautiful stories.
Right? He came in town saying he's going to open up the Moon Developer, MOON. And the people are going to be able to build 20-story high condominiums in 600,000 feet of water in Grand Bahama. This what he's selling. This what he's selling. This fella don't know nothing about nothing. They can put sand dunes and make sand islands in that deep water in Grand Bahama, and they can build 20-story. This is absolutely true. 20-story condominiums, 20-story condominiums in the water, and everything is going to be like from outer space. This is true. He says we're going to have a disco that you'll be floating. It will no gravity. You'll be floating in the disco because it's the Moon Project. So we want to do everything like it's on the moon.
Yes.
And he says, we will do all of these things, and we have a plan, and we have the money and all this thing. And you know how this thing didn't happen? My show wasn't called Hard Copy then. My show was called something else. I think I was on More FM. I think the show was called Steve McKinney Live or something like that. Or Drive Time Talk or no, You Make the Call. It was called You Make the Call. And I put a thing out there on that. I said, this got to be the biggest joke of a lifetime. This man actually met with the minister. Have pictures and everything. This project, and I read this thing. I said, this man is crazy. First and foremost, the water in Grand Bahama, that's ocean, you know.
Like over there in Dubai.
I only tell, and that's where he stole the idea from. Exactly. He stole the idea from Dubai with all the sand dunes with the thing, and he brought that here, trying to replicate that and talking fool to my minister. And I dealt with him. And you know something? The Mooney Project was gone. Disappeared without a trace. But you needed to see the pictures. You can check this. If you think I'm kidding, go back to the Tribune, go back to the Guardian, check the photographs of this man inside this thing with all the ministers and all the permanent secretaries and all that, taking pictures of this Moon Project. I said all that to say this. You got to be careful, because Oscar Johnson told me long back, say, Steve, you got to be careful. They come here with a song and a dance, and they got squat inside that briefcase except for peanut butter sandwich. Anyway, we got to go home. It's been fun. Thank you, Mark.
Well, you're absolutely welcome.
We'll get to see you again very soon and look at where we are. We'll perhaps do it again very shortly and see if any improvements have happened. But we'll be watching and monitoring.
Yes.
I appreciate it. Stevie, let's go home. Hard Copy has been brought to you by Tops Lumber. Big tent sale all day tomorrow. The 44th Independence Celebration on Clifford Park coming up on July 10th. Beauty Shack, big weekend tent sale. Man, listen, the fellas and the ladies are going to be out there tomorrow with all that good woman stuff. You know, all that stuff that the women like to wear. The big tent sale is at the Beauty Shack on Soldier Road. As usual, everything store, St. Albans Drive, Bank of the Bahamas, the Bank of Solutions, Assemblies of God. The final meeting is tonight over there at the place right by Collins Avenue. Also, you're looking at Mount Tabor's Inspiration, Super Value, the Albany Supermarkets, Rocky Farms Nursery, Water and Sewage, Ministry of Tourism, Travel the Islands, Echo Water, the official water of Hard Copy, Commonwealth Bank, Cool Tech, the Heyman Brewery, Super Wash, Advantage Insurance Brokers, Ron's Electric Motors, Executive Printers on Jerome Avenue, Seafowl, and the McKinney Media Group. Advertisement, public relations, and consultation. Call us first, 325-023516. We are the McKinney Media Group, and we are waiting to serve you. So that's our show for today. Thank you, Mark Storr. Monday coming, God willing, we'll be back here with another show. I think on Monday we have other interesting guests on Monday. And we may be talking with Pikesville Forbes on Tuesday. We got a long whole week of great stuff lined up for you as we head down the road to independence and the celebrations. Good night from Hard Copy. God, when we see you on Monday, go to church on Sunday. Have a nice night.
This is Peace Radio After Dark.